Hannah Murray on TRE in the afternoon.
Joining us on the line now is Nicky Gott OBE. She's an inspiring businesswoman, motivational speaker and cancer survivor. Her book, Shake Your Own Pom Poms, is a very honest and heartfelt memoir that shows what it means to rise, fall and rise again. Nicky shares her journey from complete academic failure, cancer survival and business collapse to standing ovations and royal recognition. Welcome to the show, Nicky.
Hello there. Thanks for having me.
It's a pleasure. Thanks so much for joining us. And congratulations. It must be lovely seeing your book out there now.
Oh, do you know, it's been in the making for a while. As you read, I had complete academic failure, so I'm not very good at putting pen to paper. So it really, really tested me having to put, my thoughts down on a piece of paper.
And what made you want to share your story?
To be honest with you, at first I didn't write it for anybody but myself. It had been such a huge journey, a journey that lasted 15 years actually, of complete knockbacks and having to keep finding myself and reinvent myself and bouncing back. And when I started to write it, I thought, do you know what, this might help others that are going through really tough times, because I've been on absolute highs, like stages, winning awards, standing ovations, to liquidating my business and bankruptcy and cancer and meningitis and sepsis. And so I decided that, look, if it helps somebody else, so be it.
Yeah, oh, definitely. And so how do you bring yourself out of these times, both medical health bad times and also financial tough times?
At the beginning, so when I first was diagnosed with cancer, it was 4 weeks after winning the Entrepreneur of the Year award. So I'd been on a stage getting this kind of big accolade, and then my business was rising high. We'd just won this multi-million-pound contract, and then 4 weeks later, boom, I got cancer. So it literally knocked the wind out of my sails. And I'm not going to lie, I'm not inhuman. I do have days where I just want to pull a duvet over my head, but I had a mantra which is stuck with me really, that the only person stopping you from doing the best that you can do is yourself. And so I had to remind myself some days that, yes, it might be living for the next second and the next second and the next second, but if I've got through that second, I can get through the next one. But, I've had moments in that where I've sat in the aisles of Sainsbury's crying because I couldn't find the sausages while I was waiting for my tumour diagnosis of the extent of that. So, I've had bad days, but generally it's just saying to myself that the only person who's going to make this happen for you is you.
Yeah. And when you're suffering like that with those bad days, it must feel difficult, the idea of having a good day and getting out of that. But I suppose when you are having those good days, you can look back on those bad days and think, wow, haven't I come a long way?
Yeah, absolutely. And I do look back on some of the tough times with complete, admiration at just the people around me, but myself, that I've come through it and turning things around. If I can share a story that I had put in the book, but I'll share it with you and I'll try and keep it as clean as I can. I went trampolining with my grandson, and as he said, kneel down, Grandma, I'll make you bounce. And as I went up and came back down, I just had a mastectomy and my prosthesis boob flew out and did a 360 in the air and it landed on the trampoline, and he picked it up and threw it back at me. And I saw a lad at the side of the trampoline, absolutely so embarrassed, beetroot. And I thought, that poor boy, I can either ignore it or I can face it and make this into a better situation. So I bounced over to him and I said, what's your name? And he said, it's Dan. And I said, my name's Nicky. Shall we shake hands before you see my boobs?
Oh, love it. Brilliant. Oh, you have to be able to laugh at these moments, don't you? I mean, seriously.
Absolutely. Do, because if you don't, what's the option? And I know there'll be people that are going through cancer at the moment. I mean, I had cancer 20 years ago, but 10 years after the cancer, having recovered from my 5th bout of sepsis, I was told that my breast had died, and it wasn't the cancer, it was the treatment that had killed the breast tissue. So 10 years after the cancer, I had to have a mastectomy. And I was told I couldn't have reconstruction, and that felt awful. Yeah. I just brought myself back and fought back. So but do you know what? You've just got to get up there, get out, and remember that you have one life. Yesterday, I ran over a bridge. It wasn't I suppose it was jogging, but it wasn't an elegant run. But I ran, and I did a 5K run yesterday morning.
Oh,
and that bridge is near my house. And there were days in the past where I could hardly put one foot in front of the other and cross that bridge. But I used to force myself to do it, because the only other option was not being here or giving up. And if you're going through that journey and you're on your own bridge, there is another side to it. Don't know what your other side looks like, but there are good days and there will be bad days, but you've just got to hit them head on.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Great advice. And what happened with you business-wise? How did that all happen?
Well, I ran my business for 17 years, and I'd had the cancer and survived that. And as I said to you, I had the sepsis, and I had 5 bouts of sepsis over 5 years. And that was, by the 5th one, I was pretty much fighting for my life. And that takes its toll on a business. And so by the time I came out of hospital, the business wasn't in a good state. And my husband actually just put his hand on mine, and he said, "Honey, darling, let it go. It's killing you." And I knew he was right, but it was a big thing for me because it was my baby and it meant so much to me. But it also meant people would lose their job. We lost so much money. I had to declare myself personally bankrupt because I brought some of the finances with me out the business. So it was huge. But over the last 6 years, I have redefined myself. I now do sort of consultancy on transformation, and I couldn't be happier, healthier, earning good money. I've written my book, and I've reinvented myself, and it felt like the end then, but nothing's the end unless you make it be the end.
Oh, congratulations. Well done for turning it around so much.
Thank you.
Amazing. And again, it's one of those things that at the time you feel like, oh, this is the worst thing that could possibly happen to me. And then now you're in a better position than you ever were.
Absolutely. And I think that, I'm going to have to do a shout out to my husband. And I always say that my OBE stands for Other Buggers Efforts, really. He is my biggest pom-pom shaker. But he's taught me to shake my own pom-poms and stand on my own 2 feet. And I think having good people around you really helps. But leaning on people, because sometimes we're a bit too proud and a bit too, I can't do that. Milk it. Lean on them until you don't need to lean on them anymore. And I get up and I face the day with that, come on, girl, you can do it. And it's that shake your own pom-poms, because nobody's going to shake them as hard as you do for yourself. And if you keep reminding yourself that, some days, if you're having a bad day, fine, stay in bed, pull the covers over, but don't stay there every day. Get up the next day and face it head on.
Yeah. Was there like a turning point for you when you were able to have this attitude? Was it kind of one moment and you were like, right, I need to do something about this? Or because there was a constant barrage of negativity and things that were happening to you, did it feel like constant struggle, if you like, constant
Yeah, there was a moment at the age of 30 where I had no qualifications. I had no job. I'd been made redundant when I was pregnant with my daughter. I was 8 stone overweight. I was really depressed. And I can remember sitting on my bottom stair at home thinking, oh, my goodness, this is it. I'm done. I'm a loser. Nobody wants me. And something came through my door, and it was a leaflet for a college on a personal development course. And I thought, you've got to do something. And it was that mantra, the only person stopping you is you. So I gave myself a kick up the backside then. And that's what led me to set up the business. And the business was hugely successful. I mean, we won big awards. And then I did a lot of work with women in business to support women which led to the OBE. And so, my reputation and my business grew, but every setback I had to re-find myself and re-step up and redo it. But I think that came with I don't like to fail. Nobody likes to fail, to be honest. The hardest thing for me was the bankruptcy and the liquidation of the business, because I felt so ashamed. But I didn't do it on purpose. It was the health. But I sat and thought about it, and I thought, shame is just something that happens. It doesn't define you. Shame is just a thing. Get past it and move on. And I think that was the hardest bit. But then I went out, and to go and knock on doors and say, I'm back and I'm here as somebody new isn't easy, but God, it's been amazing. I'm absolutely right now, I'm in the best place. I've just turned 60, and I have never felt happier, healthier, more successful. It is, and I feel so free. It's fantastic.
That's wonderful. That's so lovely to hear. So can I ask you what the business was?
It was an event and communication company, and we did change consultancy as well. So businesses that are going through big change programs. We did big events. So we did things like the Edinburgh Christmas Festival, really big stuff, and marketing and communication campaigns. And it was running for 17 years. So it was, I was in the public eye. And it was, it was really interesting to I was in the papers when my business went under. But the first time I got sepsis, because the sepsis was on the back of the sort of breast decaying, I was on site dressed as an elf, and I was put into the back of an ambulance with elf ears on. It's... We had a Christmas event. Anybody that was on that site had to be in carrot. It was that kind of Disney mantra. So, I just had to get on with it. And, I can remember being on the gas line because I was so poorly and just being in hysterics that I'm in an elf costume in the back of an ambulance. But don't remember much more after that. But lots of things do kind of bring you back to remembering why you're doing it for. I've got a wonderful family. I've got 2 grandchildren, another one on the way. Unfortunately, amongst it all, after I'd had my mastectomy, my daughter lost one of our grandchildren. He was born early. And I think when I say the bankruptcy was the hardest, I would think that was my lowest point. I think that was the hardest part to come back from, because I felt completely helpless. I couldn't help somebody else. But you just have to remind yourself, and I know it's hard. I really know, particularly anybody that's going through it, anything bad now, it's really hard to think that there's something on the other side, but there absolutely is. Good God, there's been hundreds of times I've thought there's nothing on the other side, but there always is if you make it happen.
Yeah. It's difficult, isn't it, when things like that happen, particularly to children and the innocence of the whole situation. It's really easy to just go, why? Why has this happened to me? Why has this happened to my daughter? Why has this happened to the poor little boy? I don't understand. We want reasons for things. We want to understand, this happened because of that. My business failed because of my health. We want to, and things like that. There are just no reasons. Nobody did anything wrong. It's nobody's fault. It's just horrible, and we have to somehow get over it.
We do. And I think, there's a saying that be somebody's security blanket when theirs is in the wash. And it's one of my favourite sayings. And, the people around you are there for a reason. You pick your friends for a reason. You don't pick your family necessarily, but you pick your friends and you surround yourself with certain people. And you know what? Sometimes they don't realise the impact that they make. So I think we have to make sure that we remind them how amazing they are, but also lean on them when we need them, because they'll lean on you. I'm somebody that'll just take, give, and then I have to remember to say, can you help? Because I don't like to ask that question, but do reach out, And if there aren't friends, there are organisations. There's so many organisations out there. We have a property out in Spain, and I know the community is amazing out there. We've got a property in La Marina, so, great community. There are some amazing people out there, and, just lean on them.
Yeah.
They're there.
It's absolutely true. I don't know why as humans or as a society we find it difficult to ask for help, because people often say, oh, if you ever need anything, I'm there, you know, if you ever need help with anything. But when it comes to actually picking up the phone and saying, you know, I'm not well, would you mind doing shopping for me, or whatever it might be, we really struggle to do it. But if we are lucky enough to have those good friends around us, that's what friends are for.
Yeah, and I think also I try and find the laughter. I mean, there are really funny moments in really bad, horrible times. I can remember the day I was going in to have when I was diagnosed with the breast cancer, I was just having a lumpectomy, and I was taken in on Christmas Eve, and I was sitting there waiting to have this. They put this nuclear dye in to kind of go to where the tumour is, and then where that goes is where in the lymph glands, they're the first ones they take out to see if the cancer's spread. Unfortunately, mine had. I'm sitting there waiting to be called up, and this this reindeer came forward and said, Nicky Gott. And I thought, okay. So he took me in a room, and I was met by a fairy. And then she said, if you lie on the bed, and then a woman in a white coat came in, and I thought, are you in fancy dress or not? And started to ask me, so I'm going to inject you and I need you to massage yourself. And I thought, is there a camera in the room? Is this like a really sick movie? Yes, and I just got the giggles. I got these really funny giggles. And I think that's what I've tried to do, is just laugh through as much as I can. Yeah. Because if I didn't, I'd have cried my eyes out. So just find the funny moments, and you know, if you laugh, you often make people laugh with you as well.
Definitely. Oh well, that can be the theme. Find the funny in the tough times, and shake your pom poms.
Shake your own pom. Get out there, grab those pom poms, and shout loud about yourself. Tell everybody how amazing you are. Go out and have the best day, because you don't know what's around the corner.
Yeah. Great advice. Well, if people want to get a copy of Shake Your Own Pom Poms, it's available on our website, TRE.radio, and it's by Nicky Gott, who we've been chatting with today. Nicky, thank you so much for joining us. Really lovely to chat with you.
It's been a pleasure, and I can't wait to come back.
Yay! Take care, Nicky. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.